There are 60 seconds in most people's lives that quietly decide who they become. You don't get a warning before them, you don't get a second take, and most of the time, you don't even realize you're standing inside one until it's already over. Amir didn't either. Not until his phone buzzed in a hospital hallway at 4 a.m. and something in him finally had to choose. This is the story of Amir, and this is Hidden Lessons. Amir was 34 and good at exactly one thing his whole career had been built on: being reachable. He answered emails within minutes, took calls on weekends, never once let a message sit long enough to go cold. His manager called him the most dependable person on the team. What nobody said out loud was that dependable, somewhere along the way, had quietly started meaning available to everyone except the people who mattered most. 6 months earlier, his company had offered him a promotion that came with a relocation, closer to home, closer to his aging father. Amir turned it down, told himself the timing wasn't right. There was always a reason the timing wasn't right. Then his sister Layla called at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, her voice doing the thing voices do when they're trying very hard not to shake. Their father had had a stroke. Amir was on a flight 4 hours later, still in yesterday's shirt, laptop open beside him with an unfinished work email he couldn't stop rereading, like finishing it might somehow hold the rest of his life together. The hospital corridor at 4 a.m. has a very specific kind of silence. Lights humming a little too loud, a vending machine somewhere clicking on and off, Layla sitting in a plastic chair, a paper coffee cup gone cold beside her, untouched. She looked up when Amir sat down, studied his face for a long moment, the way people do when they're deciding how much truth someone can actually hold right now. "You look like you haven't slept in 2 days, she said. "I haven't," he admitted. She was quiet a moment, then said the thing that had clearly been sitting in her chest for hours, heavy enough that she needed both hands around her cup to say it. "He asked for you last night." Before, he lost his words completely. Said your name twice. Just your name, like it was the only word left worth spending. Something cracked quietly behind Amir's ribs. What did he want? "I don't know," Layla said, voice barely holding. He just said it twice, like he needed to get it out before he couldn't anymore. The surgeon came out an hour later, calm in the practiced way doctors learn for exactly this kind of morning. There was a small window, she explained, before he went in. 5 minutes with family, maybe less, depending on how the morning moved. That's when Amir's phone buzzed in his pocket. His manager, 3 hours ahead, already awake, already needing an answer about a client call rescheduled twice this week already. Amir looked at the screen. Then he looked down the hall, at the door, with his father's name on a small whiteboard beside it. This is the 60 seconds. Everything before it had only been the walk to get here. 15 years of being the reliable one had built a career. It had also quietly taught Amir that urgent and important could wear the same face, and most days he'd never had to tell them apart. Standing in that hallway, he could suddenly tell exactly which one this was. He turned the phone face down on the plastic chair and walked through the door before he could talk himself out of it. His father looked smaller in that bed than Amir had ever seen him look anywhere in his life. Wires taped to skin that used to feel unbreakable when Amir was 6 years old and being carried on his shoulders. His father's eyes found him the second he stepped in, and something in them eased, the way a held breath finally lets go. Amir sat down close, took his father's hand, and realized he had nothing prepared to say, so he just talked. About nothing, really. An old fishing trip where neither of them caught anything for 6 hours straight and laughed about it anyway. A joke his father used to tell at dinner that never once landed, and he told it every single time regardless. His father couldn't answer any of it, but halfway through, his hand tightened around Amir's, once, then again, firm, deliberate, unmistakable. Amir understood, without a single word passing between them, that this counted for more than every phone call he'd ever answered on time. 5 minutes became the loudest silence of his life. The surgery went well. His father lived 2 more years after that morning, slower, quieter, but there. And in every one of those 2 years, Amir made sure his phone stayed face down on the kitchen table whenever he sat across from him. He never fully explained why to anyone. He didn't need to. Layla noticed. His father, in his own quiet way, noticed too. It was almost 2 years to the day, in that same kitchen, that Amir found out what those 2 words in the hospital had actually meant. His father, voice slow but steady by then, mentioned it almost in passing over breakfast, like it had been sitting in him gently the whole time, waiting for the right morning. "That night," he said, "I wasn't asking someone to fetch you. I already knew you were coming. I just wanted to say your name while I still could. Didn't know if I'd get another chance to." Amir set his coffee down very carefully, the way you set down something you're afraid might slip. "All this time," he said, "I thought you needed something from me." "I did," his father said, smiling faintly. "I needed you to hear your own name in my voice one more time, in case it was the last time. That's all it was. That's all it ever was." That is the hidden lesson buried inside one hallway, one buzzing phone, and 60 seconds that could have gone either way. We tend to imagine the moments that define us will announce themselves clearly, dressed up as something big. They almost never do. Most of the time, they look exactly like an ordinary choice between two ordinary things: a call or a hallway, a screen or a hand that's still warm enough to hold. So the next time your phone buzzes at exactly the wrong moment, ask yourself one simple question before you decide anything at all. 20 years from now, which one will still be worth remembering, and which one will you have already forgotten by next week? Then walk through the right door, because you only get the 60 seconds. What you do with them lasts an entire lifetime.